Hey everybody, my name is Paul Esden Jr., aka Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com, and of course, you can follow me everywhere at BoyGreen25. I'll throw it up on the little ticker below, so feel free to do that wherever you are watching, whether it's on my Facebook page, BoyGreen25, youtube.com/BoyGreen25, and of course on Twitter.com as well at Boy Green 25, and I've been doing this since last week. I want to do it every week moving forward. Speaking to a fellow New York Jets content creator last week, it was the OG Green Bean, who's one of the best in the business, and now it's time to bring on another legend to the program, to the channel. So let's waste no more time and let's bring him in. That is, of course, Mr. Matt O'Leary. Matthew, how are you, man?
Doing really good. Appreciate you having me on. Good to finally get connected on a live stream.
Absolutely, man. So this is great. First off, there's a lot of nicknames in Jets history. We've heard of Damon Snacks Harrison, CJ2K. It's time for MO 10K. I mean, man, I know you've gotten the love from everywhere else, but it's time to make it official. Matt O'Leary, 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. Man, again, where are the statues? Where's the green jacket? Come on, man. That is an incredible feat, man.
Well, I really appreciate it. A lot of, I'm sure you know, a lot of hard work goes into the stuff that we do, and it's just a milestone along the journey. But it felt good to hit that mark. I really appreciate it.
Okay, so humble, so modest, Mr. Matthew. I expect nothing less. Again, Matt O'Leary, make sure, of course, you hit him up on all his channels as well, particularly YouTube. We'll be talking about actually a couple of the videos he's dropped recently as topic points of discussion. Again, what I'm trying to do here with Matt Greenbean last week and Jets content creators, first off, it's a good problem to have that we have so many that this is even possible to be able to talk to so many different people. So that's cool. And I want to engage with fellow guys and also give an opportunity for the fans to get involved. So wherever you're watching, we're on StreamYard, so we're simultaneously live streaming in multiple places. Wherever you are, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, or what have you, feel free to drop comments in. We can see them all here together, and I'll throw some of the questions on as well. So yes, for instance, Big Green, is this the right time? You're damn right it's the right time. And we're going to be doing this throughout the whole little bit here. So without further ado, Matt, let's jump right in. And I joked about it on Twitter, and people seem to be liking what I said. And it is the Jets bye week bingo card. And you look at the division, Bills lose, terrific. Dolphins lose, great. Patriots lose, phenomenal. And then a little draft action in there too. Panthers, see you later. Seahawks, okay. I mean, again, I don't know if you had it out while you're watching all the festivities, Matt, but bing, 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 bing. I mean, bingo, baby. It was about as great of a bye week as the Jets could have possibly had.
Yeah, without a doubt. When you look at everything that ended up breaking right for the Jets, it's truly remarkable. Like you said, all the divisional opponents lost. And then you got some key losses from the Seahawks and the Panthers. Anything that's going to help the draft stock, I love it. And anytime the divisional rivals go down, that's a good day. So, and the Jets didn't lose. I'm sure we've seen that joke a million times during the bye week. You can't lose during the bye, but hey, man, it's just positives rolling our way right now.
You can't lose, but you certainly can win, as we just talked about. So that's
Yes.
Terrific. And the weird thing is like, so I'm watching the Sunday night game, right? You get Steelers Seahawks, and I got to tell you, how many former Jets are just kind of sprinkled throughout the league that sometimes you like Brandon Shell, Geno Smith, Jason Myers, like you just start going, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you just start losing track of all the guys that are spread throughout the league and having success. Obviously, and I haven't said this anywhere yet, but I wish the Seahawks would have lost it a different way. I like Geno. I've got a soft spot in my heart for Geno, so I would have preferred it not be a strip sack. I would have preferred it be, Tyler Lockett fumble the DK Metcalf play, for instance. He fumbles, game's over. I'm like, all right, Geno looks good. Seahawks lose. That's what I wanted. So it is kind of weird. There's a lot of Jets around all over the NFL, man.
Yeah, without a doubt. And you see just with the amount of roster turnover the Jets have had over the last few years that these guys are, going around and finding different places. Like Geno in Seattle's been a backup there for a while, and he found a nice little home. And, I didn't think he was playing that badly up until that turnover. Obviously, it turned out to be a costly one. And the week prior, I thought he played really well. And I think it was Lockett who fell down on the interception. The interception wasn't really even his fault. But, yeah, Geno out there playing football still. It's a little surprising. I didn't have on my bingo card, as you mentioned earlier, rooting against Geno Smith and Sam Darnold. But hey, here we are.
And then Jamal Adams as well. So the
Yeah.
doink right off the face. So again, I can just keep spitting out names. Let's start on the draft. You already dropped a YouTube video on it. I believe it's one of your most recent, and it is again that ex Jets are now helping the current Jets with Sam Darnold losing, Jamal Adams losing, and others, as we already discussed here. Again, it's a long way away. And normally, Jet fans don't want, if they had the choice, to be talking draft on October 19th. But we might as well dive in the waters because they have 2 top 10 picks right now. Thank you, Seattle, for that. And then thank themselves, I guess, for the lack of wins so far. Right now, they've got 2 first-round picks. They also have 2 second-round picks. That Carolina pick is in the mid-40s. So that also looks a little spicy, looks a little tasty as well. If you got to pick right now, Matthew, okay, where the positions go. Again, I get we're not going to get fully into draft and start looking at players, although I've heard Lindenbaum and Thibodeau and all these guys at Stingley and everyone's drooling over, but I won't even put you on the spot for that. Just positionally, if you had it your way, where would they go with the 2 first? And then if you want to even dive into the 2 seconds, feel free.
Yeah, I think the positions that I would be looking to attack early in this draft are offensive line, tight
Sure.
end, and edge. Those are 3 that jump out to me. I don't even mind going back to back offensive linemen early. If you want to grab a center, a long term center option, and a right guard, those are the only 2 spots that I guess I don't feel super confident in the long term. So it depends on how the board shakes out too that early. Like there are some really talented guys at the top of the draft at edge and corner. So that's obviously something you'd have to take a look at. But when I think of how the Jets could be successful, it's about Zach Wilson playing and playing well. So I think I would prioritize making his life easier. And to me, that's the offensive line.
By the way, I just got to look this up because I'm a draft nerd. Matt, we're going to get to know each other a lot, I'm sure, as we get through all these off seasons and do stuff like this together. I'm a draft freak, so I love the draft and all these draft nuggets. If the Jets, with either one of their first round picks, quite frankly, but particularly the first one, if they decided to go offensive line, it'd be the first time in Jets history in the modern draft era, which is 1970 and on, that they have taken basically 3 offensive linemen in consecutive first rounds. That has never happened before. NFL wise, I don't know if that's ever happened, but I know Jets wise in particular it hasn't. So that would be fascinating if that is indeed the way it breaks out. We'll just break up a little bit of some of our talking here to go to some of the random comments in here. Again, wherever you're watching, feel free to drop them in. Again, if we're live right now on my Facebook page, BoyGreen25. We're live on YouTube, youtube.com/BoyGreen25. And on Twitter, we're verified Boy Green and fellow verified Mr. Matt O'Leary. Again, we're pretty big deals. That's what the blue check mark means.
I think so. Yeah.
So make sure you hit that follow button and show your support. So let's go through some of these questions here. We got from Boy Green to Big Green. Okay, I won't sue you for copyright, but let's see what we have, Big Green. So being out of the Wildcat with Crowder, taking the snap with Davis and Mims to one side, more on the other. So many options with that formation. I will say in general that I do foresee at some point Jamison Crowder and the ability to throw the football somehow being involved. And obviously it was a little bit of the refresh button on Monday night when we got the Billy special, a little Dawson Knox to Josh Allen action. I'm surprised we haven't seen more creativity offensively. Maybe it's Mike LaFleur being a first-time offensive coordinator and he's trying to, stay, close to the vest, so to speak. We saw like an Elijah Moore jet sweep, every Braxton Berrios jet sweep every once in a while. I'd like to see them get more creative, but that has to be a play in the back of the playbook with Jamison Crowder's ability as a former quarterback, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. It was against the Browns last year where he threw a touchdown pass, if I'm not mistaken. That's definitely something that I would look at. When your offense is struggling, it's okay to get creative and do some trickery. And, well, I think the Jets are in that position right now with their lack of offense through the first little bit here of the season.
Let's talk about that, Matt. Okay, so this is a dead serious question. So Robert Saleh goes into the bye and he tells the media, my mission is to fix the slow first half issues. My question is it possible? Because, is there some switch they're going to be like, oh, dude, LaFleur, Mikey, you didn't see this. Oh, dude, that's why we had the slow starts. We didn't turn the car on. We were just in the car. That's why. Oh, of course. Duh. And then they turn it, and all of a sudden they're scoring 35 points. It's just hard for my mind to go, it's just this one thing. They flip the one thing, and then all of a sudden they're good. But can they do it, Matt?
I don't think it's gonna be like that quick. I think it's something that they're gonna have to progress and get a little bit better at week after week. The thing that I just don't want to see is the continuation of the shutout in the first half or getting yourself in a 20-3 hole. You can't win that way. They were able to come back against Tennessee and even against Atlanta. They made it a little bit of a game in the second half, but you just can't dig yourself that big of a hole. And honestly, I think it just starts from sustaining some sort of drives here. Early on, it seems like they're going three and out a whole lot, and maybe it is getting that creativity up a little bit, mixing in a trick play early on. I think they need to do a better job of establishing the run. I don't think they've done that well at all. Realistically, you look at the three backs; all of them are averaging under 4 yards a carry. If they get that run game going, I think that will open up some of the pass and really make Zach's life a little bit easier.
Well, if you think back, it is New England Patriots week, which obviously we'll get into here in a little bit. But when I hearken back to that New England game, even though that gives me the heebie-jeebies, is that week 2 game they ran the ball actually quite well. If Zach Wilson didn't just all of a sudden get colorblind and wasn't sure which jersey he was trying to throw to, perhaps the Jets could have done some magic in that game. They did run the ball very effectively in that, which brings us to another one of your recent videos here, Matt, which is getting Elijah Moore more involved in the offense. Again, I kind of joke about this, but I'm not joking. Elijah Moore's bust in Canton. I was shining. I was talking with the people at the Hall of Fame saying, you got to get his nose better. It's not quite right. I was getting the final details on that. And then the season happened. Where is Elijah Moore, man? He was supposed to be this star, this guy that was going to get the ball creatively. Like Salah talked about it before the year. Wow, we just need to get the ball in his hands. And we thought, oh, wow, Debo Samuel, wow, jet sweeps, pop screens, bubble screens, hell, even just direct out of the backfield every once in a while. The fans were drooling with options. Wow, you could do all this stuff. Michael Floyd's like, maybe not. Let's do nothing. We'll do nothing with Elijah Moore. And if that was his plan, then perfect. It is going exactly according to plan, man. But that's not the plan. They need to get him the friggin' ball, man.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was saying in my video too. I think he's such an interesting chess piece because he could be moved around a lot. You could have him outside, you could have him in the slot, you can put him in the backfield, you could have him as a deep threat. You can just, throw a screen to him or use him as a, on a jet sweep. But they really haven't done that. I think they're using him too much on the outside. And I understand now with Jamison Crowder back in the lineup that they want him to be the primary slot guy. But I mean, let's not kid ourselves here. Jamison Crowder, in all likelihood, is not going to be here next year. So I think it's in their best interest to just mix it up a little bit. Get Mims involved on the outside. Even Keelan Cole, they haven't used him a lot either. I like Cole. I think he's a pretty good player. So while they don't necessarily have like a star wide receiver, I think they're deep at the position. And they should use that to their advantage by moving guys around and changing up the personnel a little bit. And I think they're just too stuck in their base unit and not really making too many changes to it.
Let me put you up against it right here, right now. Do the Jets, the November 2nd is the NFL trade deadline this year. Do the Jets have to get out of their own way and trade Jamison Crowder and or Keelan Cole and then say, well, we have no other choice. Now we've got to use Elijah Moore a little bit more in the slot. Oh, wait, all of a sudden a boundary position's open? Denzel Mims, is that his name? Yeah, get him off the bench. Throw him in there. Is that necessary? Or is this Jets offensive coaching staff capable of having that depth that you speak of, that you can just move guys all over the board? Or are they not good enough or smart enough or aware enough to be able to do that? And you have to take the decision out of their hands by just trading one or two of those guys. And thus that will open up opportunities. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily want to do that. Like they're one injury away from having that happen, unfortunately. And I kind of like having the depth. I just would utilize the players better. I think that's really the main issue here. I don't think it's fair to say, oh, Denzel Mims hasn't learned all three positions yet, so we just can't use him. That doesn't sit right with me. I would say, okay, well, this guy is a really good contested catch guy. He's pretty good with the ball in his hands after the catch too. Let's try to get creative and get the ball in his hands. Same thing with Moore, man. Like he's another one. I just wish they would get the ball in his hands in quick little stuff. And while, yeah, maybe they do end up trading a Jamison Crowder, that scares me a little bit when you're trying to develop a rookie quarterback. I think it's a good thing to have, a lot of weapons and a variety of weapons to use in your offense.
That makes the decision more complicated, Matt. You hit the nail on the head there because everyone, including me, was like, trade Jamison Crowder for a bag of Doritos. This would be great. Move him. It's Elijah Moore time. It's this young guy's time. And then as soon as he came back in the Tennessee game, we're like, whoa, wait, Jamison Crowder, this guy's great. Who said trade him? Fire that guy. He's an idiot. We need more Jamison Crowder. So I do agree. There it seems to be this fine line of like, Jamison Crowder just knows how to get open. He's savvy. He's versatile. He's a veteran. He's good. And to trade him for what would probably amount to be some day 3 pick, which the Jets already have a lot of, maybe that would be poorly utilized. All right, let's go through a couple more comments here. Big Green back in. Don't forget he's a blocker, 100%. That's what I love
Agree.
about Denzel Mims. And quite frankly, what I thought the coaching staff would love. They're like, oh, great. This scheme that we're bringing in, the wide zone, this will be great because Denzel Mims is this physical, I say poor man's Brandon Marshall. Obviously, he's not the same height or weight, but again, that kind of force and impact. So 100%, he is a solid, great blocker, but unfortunately, that isn't a trait or characteristic apparently that this coaching staff seems to like.
Yeah, I don't get that one. I thought that would be one they'd be excited about, especially when you consider that where LaFleur is coming from in San Francisco, they love for their wide receivers to be able to block in their West Coast offense. So I thought that would be one of the reasons why they try to get this guy in the lineup a lot. But yeah, I still don't understand that one. Anytime he's on the field, he's making plays. So I just don't get it.
Yeah, it seems again some sort of he gets thrown in the Falcons game, boom, catch, and then the
Yeah.
coaching staff must just go, weird coincidence. No coincidence, man. Just give him the ball, man. Jeez, Lou. Another guys we already talked about that should be a part of the game. Lindell's J commenting in on YouTube, wanting to be a part of the game this week, which brings us to this Patriots game. Matt, let me ask you as a fan, of course, because I feel like a lot of us content creators, we're fans at heart, and that is what opened up the passion and the, all the juices have been flowing for all of us, and that is what has made us become, I think, really good content creators because we care about the product, obviously. So let's go into that. Does the Patriots week mean extra to you over the common game?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think that, from when I was growing up, that was the Jets' biggest rival. And it was, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady up until the last couple of years up against this Jets team. And outside of 2010, I mean, they've gotten the best of us most of the time. And the Jets haven't beaten them since 2015. So I would very much so like a win. I think it's we root a little harder to beat Bill Belichick and stick it to him a little bit, but it's a very tough ask this week to go on the road and win in New England with a rookie quarterback.
I will say though, and so your stat, right? They haven't won against Patriots since 2015. You think that's bad? Well, speaking of Joe Caporoso, of course, great stuff on Badlands. So shout out to those guys. He joins me every Tuesday on my radio show, and he dropped the stat saying the Jets haven't beaten the Patriots on the road since 2008, and I'm like, shut up. And then he said it, and then you look, it's a Brett Favre year. Oh my God. Can we get a win? As you say, it's difficult. I think the Jets are like a 7-point underdog or something on the road, which makes sense for all the reasons. But the fact of the matter, it's been 13 years. I think we're long overdue, man. I mean, that's a horrible stat.
Yeah, that's a little shocking. As you were saying it, I was like, that can't be true. But then I did the math in my head, and I'm like, wait, no, you're right. When was the last time they were able to beat them on the road? And there's been tight games there, but it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing to do. So hopefully that streak comes to an end on Sunday. That'd be really nice.
Yeah, that would be great to see. We'll just keep going through a lot of the comments here and then start other points of conversation. Lindell's back in. Crowder is a team player. No trouble, no problems. I will say, Crowder obviously said it after the whole contract thing happened where he said, I was surprised the Jets came to me and said, hey, you want to slice your salary in half, pal? And he went like, oof, didn't know that was coming. But obviously it's a cold-blooded business. I know it split a lot of Jet fans because some Jet fans said they have plenty of money. Why are they asking him to take less? To me, I see the business side of it, and I'm like, hey, if you could save a few bucks, why not save a few bucks? Especially since most of that rolls over anyway. But I will give Jameson a lot of credit. Obviously, he took the pay cut because I'm sure he didn't want to uproot his family right before the start of his season. I'm sure he would have found somewhere, but that would have been tough. That's a family part of it. We don't really talk about a lot, but he seems to be a team guy. I'm glad that the groin seemed to take a lot longer than I thought it was going to, so I thought that was a little strange, but ultimately he has been a proven team guy. He was the leading receiver the last 2 years.
Yeah, he's been a really good Jet and on some pretty garbage teams, unfortunately, but he's a steady player. And I thought from the Jets' perspective, it made sense to, do that because he was going to get a relatively high cap hit. They were able to cut that in half, and now it gives you the option where you can trade him at the deadline if you wanted to. Because if you're trying to move the bigger contract, it's harder to get a GM to bite on that. But if it's half of what it previously was, what is it sitting at now? Like 5 million, somewhere around there, I
Yeah.
believe. Then maybe you get somebody to throw a third or a fourth round pick for Jamison Crowder. And if the Jets are out of it and decide that's what they want to do, then fine. You just add more ammo in the draft class.
100%. And again, that I agree with you. The 10 million would have been nearly impossible to move. I mean, think about this. Stephon Gilmore, who I think is still a spectacular player, the Patriots could only move him for a 6 because no one could just randomly take 7 million they didn't account for earlier. So they were screwed a little bit, and I think they handled it very poorly. That's another side of the coin, but that's part of it. Getting that number down to 5, I think will really help out a lot. All right, let's go to Tom here, also jumping in on YouTube. What's up, brothers? Wanted to play consistent football for all 4 quarters. You can't win games only in the second half. Amen. And like I said, the other thing is I just want to be in as a fan more. I mean, I'm in on every game no matter what, but you score a couple of touchdowns early, we're like, okay, we're on them. You back them into a corner. Every time it's like the Jets hit the snooze button, the game's supposed to start at 1, they're like, it's 2:30. We got to get there. Like, what's going on? So 100%, they can't just win games in the second half. That needs to change for sure. All right, let's jump over to Lindell's here. Yes, we need to beat the Pats this week. It's possible if we were prepared. Mac can make mistakes with our defense. Let me ask you, I need more opinions on Mac Jones. McCorkle is who I need more opinions on, because when I see Mac Jones, I see a guy who has the mobility of a parked car. I see a guy that, man, if you need a 2-yard pass, he's your guy. He will nail that. And then when I'm watching the Cowboys game, I see 100% completion percentage in the first half. I'm just like, he's just taking what's in front of him, which on some sense is great because, they've been in some good positions to win games. They were in the Tampa Bay game. They were obviously in this Dallas game. Outside of a couple of those red zone turnovers, maybe that would have changed the script. But still, they've been in it. I just am not impressed with Mac Jones. And it doesn't seem like it's just a Patriots thing. It's just a football. I'm not impressed with what I see. I'd much rather have the super highs and unfortunately the super lows of Zach Wilson than then this guy that's just floating in the middle. He's just a mad guy. Someone I had on the show, I think it was last week, said his ceiling. No, it was Pat Lane yesterday, the Patriots insider. He's the ceiling of Kirk Cousins. That doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. And that's kind of been my take all along. Not even like well before he went to the Patriots, just when looking
Right.
at him in this draft class to say, okay, he's a high completion percentage guy, but one, how much of that is because of the team around him? And two, the lack of mobility is a really big concern for me. And what I've seen so far is you're right. He takes the stuff that's given to him, and he has the luxury of having the best coach in NFL history in helping him through that. And they haven't asked him to do a lot. And, he's been okay. I don't want to make this like he's been awful. I don't think he has been, but I just think his ceiling is significantly lower than when you look at what Zach Wilson or Justin Fields or Trey Lance or Trevor Lawrence, any of those 4 guys could be at this level. And yeah, you're getting some mistakes with Zach Wilson and with Lawrence, especially early on. But when you look at the Tennessee game for Wilson, I don't think any of those big throws that he was making Mac Jones could make on an NFL field. And I just look at him as like a game manager type of quarterback where someone like Zach has a little bit of a higher ceiling.
And also, Bill Belichick's okay, greatest coach of all time. I won't debate that. The thing I'll debate, though, is his confidence in Mac Jones. It doesn't
Yep.
seem like Belichick believes in him. Look at those 4th down calls in the Dallas game alone, although you can look beyond that. Look at the analytics. When they have these, like, they have like a 4th and short midfield, and they've in the Cowboys game in particular, they gave up like I think it was 16 points essentially is what they did when they had a 4th and short situation. Got a punt. Sorry, Mac Jones, no trust. Cowboys ended up converting those into touchdowns. So that was the difference, obviously, in that game. But there's been other games. It doesn't seem like there's a faith there. It seems like he's just like, hey, man, it's Mac Jones on training wheels. And he says, hey, drive this path. Don't divert off the path. Just do this. I feel like that's how they've coached him. And I think somewhat to a deficit, but at the same time, obviously he's nowhere near as talented as some of these other guys in terms of ceiling. And I agree with you. I was saying it before the Patriots drafted him, but of course New England ended up with Mac Jones. So go figure there. All right, let's go back to YouTube here. We need a tight end. So let's put you on the spot, Matt. If you could have one tight end And I'm not just talking dream and where you go, Travis Kelsey. Yeah, thanks, Matthew. I mean, like you could pick a free agent option or somewhat realistic trade option. Names like OJ Howard have been floated out there. Obviously, there's a few fans on either the Zach Ertz / Dallas Goddard ballpark. But if you could pick one, either sign free agent that's just hanging out there or trade, what tight end would you want to bring in right now?
I don't think I have an answer for you, and I know that's really bad guess because I think OJ Howard is really overrated. I think he's just a name recognition guy as a former first rounder, but I mean, if you look at Tampa's depth chart, he's basically the third tight end on that roster now. I would have been okay with going with Ertz or Goddard, but now that they moved Ertz, I don't think they're going to move Goddard now. I don't really want to give up a draft pick for David Njoku either to the Browns. I don't know if they're going to be looking to move him. This might just be something you have to ride out for the rest of this year and try to address in the draft or in free agency next year. I don't think this is really an in-season fix for the Jets.
I will say, though, and I think we'll probably both agree on this, maybe not. I won't put words in your mouth. I think it's a major failure by the Jets, either Joe Douglas or the coaching staff, one or the other. Either Joe Douglas didn't give his coach any toys to play with, and they just had to rock with what they had, or the coaching staff said, Joe Douglas, we don't need anybody. We're Mike Shanahan back in the day. Plug any rando in the back will get 1,000 yards. These guys are fine. System guys, tight end will be fine. Or they downplayed the importance of the position. Either way, one of them or both effed up. And now all of a sudden we're in midseason. We're like, ooh, so tight end was important. It seems like they blew that.
Yeah, I would agree with you, especially if you see how much they've run, especially earlier on. They got a little bit away from that recently. The amount they've run two tight ends out there, it just makes you scratch your head, especially after trading Chris Herndon too. And I don't dislike the Herndon trade. I think getting a fourth for him was phenomenal value, but I just didn't understand. Okay, you trade Chris Herndon and now you're going to run two tight ends with Croft and Ryan Griffin. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
All right, let's throw this one in from Lendls because I know there's these stands out there. Let's drop it. Kenny Yeboah. Any hope this year?
Maybe. I mean, I'd probably rather see him than Daniel Brown or Ryan Griffin.
I don't know if that's saying much, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But maybe. I mean, I thought he flashed a little bit towards the end of the preseason. So, I mean, why not give him a shot down the stretch?
This may be a hot take, but the reason why I was okay with all these bums that are at tight end right now, and that includes but not limited to Daniel Brown, Ryan Griffin, and Tyler Croft and these random scrubs. I was like, you know what? They have the zest. I am a Chris Herndon super fan. And I said, oh man, it's just underneath the surface. You just got to tap into it. That was the key. So having that sizzle with all that lame, I said, okay, fine. If that's a tight end group you want to roll with, that's fine. Then they trade Herndon, again, the value fourth rounder, and then look what he's done this year. Another Joe Douglas wizardry job there, which is terrific. But then when I see that this is all they were left with and this is the plan, I'm like, ugh, it's just kind of gross. So Kenny Yeboah, if you could provide any of that zest I was looking for, any of that sizzle, then come on down. I'm Bob Barker. Come on down, Kenny Yeboah. We can throw you in there. Let's go to Braden here. He is a constant fan here on YouTube, so I love all your comments throughout all these live streams. I wouldn't mind seeing Mike LaFleur up in the box. Maybe he's more comfortable up there. Also shows me they're trying all options. What do you guys think? I'll start this one off here, Matt, and I'll say this, is that for me, it seemed like LaFleur, this is just my perspective, during the offseason, LaFleur's like, I like being up in the box. I see everything. I see the bird's eye view. And Robert's was like, Mikey, I'd love you down on the field. Just give it a try, pal. And he just really a strong suggestion, like, you should do this. I don't know if you should do this. Okay, guess I'm down on the sideline because Zach Wilson seems to like it. And I get the, hand-to-hand combat down there must be pretty great. But it seems like, again, if I'm just reading the tea leaves, Mike LaFleur, if he had it his way, up in the box, that's how he sees the game better. And then he was just basically forced down there because of Saleh and Zach Wilson. What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. And if he's more comfortable up there, then I would say it's probably time for him to go back up. I see the side of Saleh and Wilson, though. Like, I do think there's a benefit of having your offensive coordinator down there as a rookie quarterback to go over things with you. But maybe that's a job for the quarterback coach at this point. And if LaFleur thinks he'd be a better play caller from up top, then you might just have to bite that bullet and say, okay, we're going to put you back up there after the bye week now.
All right, let's get some more action here. Again, make sure you stop whatever you're doing right now and hit subscribe on Matt O'Leary's channel. He's at 10K. Let's make him 20K. Let's make him
Mhm.
100K. This guy is rolling, and the content is coming out on a consistent basis. I mean, it's fantastic. Make sure wherever you're watching right now, another reminder, hit the thumbs up button if you're watching on YouTube. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, like and share wherever you're watching. Show your support. We do this content creator business every single week, and we are so lucky to have Matt O'Leary here on the show. So make sure you show support for his channel as well. Again, Matt O'Leary on YouTube. All right, give us your prediction here, Matt, for this New England Patriots game. Can the Jets get a win? Apparently in New England for the first time since 2008. Can they do it? And also, before you give that prediction, what I want to ask from you is what is your expectation for Zach Wilson? I've said this to Joe Caporoso. I said it to Pat Lane yesterday. I'll say it to you. I'm a little worried because in that first game, obviously he implodes. The rest of the team looked pretty good. The defense looked solid until it all ended up the wheels falling off. Same thing for the running game. I feel like there's a chance Zach Wilson can say to himself, screw this. I'm going to Tennessee Titan this game. I'm going to show the world. I'm going to prove it to the Patriots that was just a fluke. I'm the superstar. I'm the number 2 pick. Look at me, home run baby. And we're coming out of the bye and slow first half, and all that's in his mind. And then unfortunately it can lead to some bad plays. That's what I'm a little nervous about heading into this one.
I definitely understand those fears, and I think that's completely rational. I think he is going to be better than what he was in week 2. I don't think we're going to get like a Tennessee performance, but I think he's going to put up like relatively steady numbers. Maybe one turnover, but like sitting right around 200 passing yards, right around 6.5 to 7 yards per attempt, and maybe one passing touchdown, like a just pedestrian to okay kind of game, which I would be okay with that based on what we saw last go around. The one positive that I could say for maybe he does a little bit more than that is he's had 2 weeks to look at this defense and he's seen them once already. So I think if there ever is a time for an upset to happen, it would be now. But I'm not going to go as far as to predict that. I don't like the Jets' chances this week. I think New England wins and covers, but it's just they're Bill Belichick's 13-0 at home against rookie quarterbacks. As much as I want to say this is the time to change it, history tells you otherwise. My head is telling me to go with the Patriots. My heart wants to go with the Jets, and my head's beating it out right now.
Okay, fair enough. I was hoping for a zest, a quick hot take. We could screen grab this, go to Twitter. Matt O'Leary says the Jets are going to blow out the Dolphins. That's what I was hoping for, but that's all right. I'll just say this: is that I feel like you're right that this is the first time Zach Wilson gets a second dish at the table. He has not had this is his first rematch opportunity. He hasn't played the Bills yet at all. He hasn't played the Dolphins yet. So it's kind of weird that he's getting both Patriots matchups before any of the other ones. But this is an opportunity to see if he can learn from his mistakes. Another encouraging sign for me, anyway, is that this coaching staff has been phenomenal with second half adjustments. So I can only hope that with that mindset, with the bye week, is having extra time to adjust to all the mistakes that maybe, just maybe, they can figure out a lot of their issues. So we can only hope that all is possible. Let's drop in a couple more comments here, and then we'll let Matt go. Let's go to Lindell's. Is everyone happy? Everyone in our division lost this week. If we improve, is there a chance? So let's talk about that for a second, because I started off the show talking about the bingo card of Dolphins lose, Bills lose, Patriots lose, and I'm just saying, I'm just going to throw this out into the ethos. If somehow, in a hypothetical world, the Jets beat the Patriots, they would be in second place in the division. And the Bills just lost. I mean, and they played the Bills twice this season. I mean, Matt, are you saying there's a chance?
Wow, that's some spin zone there. I'm going to give you that one. I'm not ready to go as far as that they can compete with the Buffalo Bills, but when you look at this New England team and Miami team, they are obviously clearly flawed. I definitely think they have a much better chance of going up against and beating Miami, just because the Belichick factor there in New England, and I think Mac's been playing better than Tua anyway. But I think maybe they could finish in third, and that would be maybe our little surprise here. But I don't think they're getting past New England or Buffalo, unfortunately, yet. Maybe next year.
That's okay. And by the way, I wish I didn't know this stat off the top of my head. I mean, obviously the Jets haven't won the division since 2002, so it's been a very long time. I can't wait because obviously with the division comes a home playoff game. It comes with a cool hat that I am buying immediately of AFC East champs on the hat. I can't wait for that. That would be terrific. Damien, we'll go a double dip with you, and then we'll let Matt go here. So let's see. Let's go to this one first. Gentlemen, I fear this game. Run the ball, quick pass. He will switch up defense on Zach. He's going to stack box and play man. Look for zero blitz. I'll be honest, Damien. I thought he was going to zero blitz the heck out of him the first time, and he did not. And that completely baffled me. I said, oh boy, he's going to go ghost on him and try to just throw the kitchen sink. But if you look at the analytics, he actually did not. Of course, it would be weird if Bill Belichick could do the same thing twice, especially him being a defensive wizard. So I'm not sure I anticipate that happening. Let's go to the other one here from Damien. Gentlemen, how about incorporate some slants in the game plan and some 3 wide receiver sets, Mims, Davis, or outside more and slot, and some no huddle hurry offense, especially against Patriots, force Bill Belichick's hand. Yeah, I guess I'll just throw that one over to you, Matt. Do you want to see more slant? Do you want to see more 3 wide receiver sets in that setting and some no huddle offense? Would that intrigue you?
Oh, 100%. I'm a huge advocate of running slants, and I think the Jets have the receivers to do it. And it's very frustrating to me that they haven't really done that a whole lot. And yeah, I mean, when you look at this tight end group, we talked about it earlier. That's not a strength of this team. To me, their wide receivers are a lot deeper. So I'd rather have more receivers on the field than tight ends. So I'm all about this.
And let me just say, this is like a pet peeve. Like when Zach Wilson goes under center for a second and he looks at his wide receiver, they're playing 30 yards off, hike the goddamn ball and just whoop, throw it out. Like Seattle does it. There's a bunch of teams that just do it. Aaron Rodgers does it all the time. And I get it. Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Famer, and then Zach Wilson. But again, how hard is it to just look, give a quick red cobra, and then just chuck it over there to Elijah, Corey Davis, whoever, and get just 5 yards automatically. Patriots did that all the time. I just don't get why they don't do that, Matt.
I know it's very frustrating. It's just week in and week out. It feels like I'm yelling at my TV just to like get these easy completions going, please. But I think, and now I don't want them to completely go away from this because I do like play action, but I think they've been too relying on it too much of play action and like slow developing plays where I think it'd be in their best interest to just get the ball out of his hands quickly and get him in a little bit of a rhythm early in the games.
I think that's the key for people who are hoping for an upset, and one I, of course, am going to predict because I am a glass half full guy by nature, and I
Love
can
it.
see it. If you squint hard enough, I'm like, you know what? I can see the Jets winning. If that's going to happen, I think easy completions for Zach to get him in some kind of rhythm will be key. Matt, let us know what's going on the channel. What other videos? We're on the edge of our seats. Jet fans want to know what's next, what's coming for you.
Love it. Thank you again for having me on. Tomorrow, I have a new episode of Just Jets with a special guest. So, have a guest going to be on a nice little interview there. So, you're going to have to tune in to find out who that is. And of course, just previewing Patriots and reacting to the game on Sunday and having a lot of fun over there.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for gracing us with your 10K presence. I mean, it is an absolute honor. And thanks to everyone who is tuning in today. We'll have to do this again in the future. And thanks for continuing this series. And obviously, for people who don't know, a lot of hard work goes into being content creators, pumping out content all the time. And your 10K subscribers, while just a stepping stone in the great life of Matt O'Leary, is an incredible achievement, man. And I'm so proud of you and happy for you. And I will give this one last shout out is that, Matt, I started the YouTube game late. I've been doing a podcast for 10 years, the Jet Zone. It's great. But for YouTube, I reached out to you last off season to all the top Jets content creators on YouTube. I'm like, how do you do what you do? And I was your monk. I was in your dojo. I was learning, trying to learn and absorb everything I could. So thank you so much for instilling some knowledge and sharing the love. It's so cool that all the content creators are so cool. It would make a lot of sense if you said, "Shut up, dweeb. I'm 10, I'm 9K, whatever you were at the time, and screw you. Figure it out on your own." But you opened up the doors, and you and Green Bean and everybody else. I just got to say thank you guys for being so open arm and welcoming to new people coming in the group.
Absolutely. There's room for everyone here. That's what I love about the Jets community. And I know we're a little biased because we're very much in the trenches of it, but I feel like we're blessed as a fan base with the amount of quality content creators that are putting out stuff, whether it be video, podcast form, written articles and stuff like that. It's truly awesome to see all the good work that comes in from everybody, and I enjoy watching your stuff too, man. So I'm happy that you're a part of the Jets fam as well.
All right, awesome. Matt, thanks so much for spending a little time on your Tuesday night, man. Enjoy the game, and let's hope for a Jets win.
Yes, fingers crossed for a Jets win on Sunday, boys.
All right, there you go. Matt O'Leary, everybody. Make sure you